But he did not expect that from Pittsburgh. I think he was really surprised, and then he pretended it didn't happen. He didn't.
Yeah.
He pretended that the biggest protest Pittsburgh has ever had, according to the local anchor here on CBS. He pretended that didn't happen.
Yeah.
He didn't hear it. Of course, he heard it. You could hear it from the synagogue.
Yeah.
All the reports said, and the people all turned their back on him. So
the interesting thing about Pittsburgh as a city is its reputation for friendliness, which is very true. And it's not a fake friendliness. The people in Pittsburgh are
you're
very
like
friendly.
you're like exception to that. Is that?
Yeah, I'm the one they didn't let live in the city.
Exactly.
But now that they are very friendly. They are very communitarian, and they are very unified.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you come to Pittsburgh with your hate and rhetoric, and the people of Pittsburgh saw that no, Donald Trump didn't pull any triggers, but man, his language and rhetoric, and he inspires these kind of people.
Well, as I say,
into action.
Deny white nationalism, and then you can come here. That's the only rule. Why is that so hard?
Yeah,
it shouldn't be hard. If you're a decent leader, this is not hard to do.
The thing about, Pittsburgh, it was already going around the day he showed up that Republican candidates and officials really didn't want to appear with him because they knew it would hurt them electorally.
Right, and Paul Ryan and
Mitch McConnell
were unavailable.
they were washing their hair that day.
Yeah, very much washing their hair.
It was a bad move. And the thing about Trump is his staff knows this. They know that wherever Trump goes, he makes things worse. Mm-hmm. It's why they don't ever let him go to funerals and deliver eulogies like Obama and Bush did.
It's awful that our country is led by this person who can't even do the most minimum, most basic part of the job. That he views these things so selfishly, and I wrote about that today. That all of the tweets of his about Obama 6 years ago really revealed how he sees things. He sees things so Machiavellian. Everything is about a means to an end for him. He doesn't see people, and he clearly used this funeral in the same way. And I think that is having an impact on independent voters, and it certainly is motivating Democrats.
Oh yeah, and if you want to, there's a belief widespread across the country among voters that the Republican federal government doesn't hear them, doesn't care about them, and doesn't, frankly, give a darn about what they want or need.
Now,
and that Donald Trump oozes that attitude every single day. So people always say, well, Trump's not on the ballot, and Trump runs saying, I'm not on the ballot, but I am. This election, whether people say it or not, whether Beto O'Rourke in Texas ever mentions Donald Trump's name, or any of the other candidates around the country, like Stacey Abrams in Georgia or anywhere else, this election is all about Donald Trump. He is the dark cloud hanging over everything at all times. And he is the consequence that needs checked.
Yeah, he needs checked. He needs to be kicked out of office. I want to applaud you for staying focused as the dog crawled all over you. So I want to, the one thing I did want to bring up, though, is that it looks like while Republicans are going to lose seats in the House, the Freedom Caucus, everyone is saying, expected to gain. So we could see a lot of more hardline positions coming from. It's hard to imagine that that's possible from Republicans.
What is happening is the Republicans that lost in primaries didn't run again. They were replaced by more extreme candidates in some of these safe districts. So you're going to see a hardening and a further. This happens in every party when they either lose the majority or their caucus shrinks in the House or Senate. What you have left are the safest seats and the more ideological hardliners, whether they be right or left. So you're going to see fewer Republicans in the House, but the moderates are going to be cleaned out of the House Republican caucus.
And that's not. Then you're going to have a real branding problem for Republicans.
Hard right, and then the Democrats actually are putting together a really nice House coalition that's going to be pretty diverse if some of these races turn out like everyone suspects they will. There's 100 races. This is why everyone says the odds are so good. Why Nate Silver bumped the Democrats' odds up to 87% in his last model of winning the House, because there are 100 House seats that Republicans currently hold that are either toss-up or lean Democrat right now. And so Democrats only need 23 of them. Democrats could lose theoretically more than 3 out of every 4 of those races and win the House. That's why the House, the Democratic House looks like not a certainty, but a very strong probability. It's why Trump is no longer campaigning for House candidates. It's why Trump is downplaying the House. He wants nothing to do with taking any responsibility for losing the House.
I think you could just stop with taking any responsibility. That's it. That's Trump.
The Senate's really interesting because if the Democrats do pull an upset somewhere, let's say Beto pulls it off in Texas, you're looking at a real possibility of a 50-50 Senate where Mike Pence has to break votes on every single bill. And it wouldn't surprise me if we did end up somewhere like Democrats win some open seats, Republicans win. Let's say they beat Heidi Heitkamp in North Dakota, because that looks pretty likely. Even if John Tester in Montana would lose, the Democrats will win a couple open house seats. Things Senate seats that Republicans control right now. Things negate, but Democrats pick one up in like Tennessee or Texas, and you end up all of a sudden with a 50-50 Senate. That would not surprise me in the least.
And it's not going to play well if they're constantly bringing Mike Pence in, to save the vote on everything. I mean, how often are they going to bring him in? And is he going to bring a fake rabbi with him? These are the questions.
One he travels around with.
Yes, Americans want to know.
The other interesting thing about that is, remember, it's important.
He's trying to type.
Whether or not he's trying to type on the dock, trying to type on my keyboard. It's important whether or not how many seats Republicans gain, or if Democrats pick up a seat or two. You may think, well, it's no big deal. Republicans might gain a seat or two, Democrats might, but the map shifts for the next 2 cycles after this. If Democrats even hold serve and we go back in with a 51-49 Republican Senate into 2020, Democrats are going to be favored to win the Senate.
And that's another reason why every vote counts. Like, no matter where you are in this election, you've got to get out and vote. You've got to get out and take your friends. And that's how I'm going to close this. Excuse me. But it's time to do that.
I can't talk about the BS narrative that if Republicans survive and keep the Senate about how this wasn't so bad for them. This is going to be terrible for them.
Please do. Oh, no, go ahead with that.
Real quick,
it's Halloween.
This is going to be terrible for them, even if the Senate holds the way it is at 51-49. There is Republicans are only defending 10 seats.
They're going to claim that's a big win.
Democrats are defending 24, 10 of them in states that Trump won by double digits.
Yeah.
So there's no big win for Republicans here if they just hang on or maybe pick up 1 seat. They're setting themselves up to lose the Senate in 2020.
Well, and another reason why every vote counts. And on this Halloween, I wanted to say that the scariest thing to me is that people, like everyone listening and their friends and family, will think, my little area is taken care of. I don't need to go vote. So please, do everyone in this country a favor. Take your friends and family and go vote this November 6th. Do it for everyone who has lost someone they love to gun violence. Do it for minorities who are having their fundamental right to vote stolen. For babies who are being jailed. For rape victims. For morality. For decency. And for hope. Just do it. Thanks for joining us. This has been
2016. Go vote.
Yeah, that's right. This has been the Politicus Pod. Thank you.
Look at you.